The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And so you good people are here taking a stand and making your voices known. And this is so important in this time. The hardest part of the 2 weeks to flatten the curve has been the past 21 months. We've seen massive violations of our charter rights and freedoms. We've seen violations of the freedom of association. So basically that basic simple human dignity of being able to spend time with friends and family in person, having Christmas dinner with your parents, just socializing with friends. That's a fundamental, it's a fundamental human need that we all have, and it's also a charter freedom of association that has been trampled into the ground by unelected, unaccountable Premier Dina Hinshaw and her lovely assistant Jason in the past 21 months. We've had trampling into the ground of the religious freedom. Here in Alberta, we've seen pastors jailed for not complying with arbitrary and unscientific health restrictions. We see freedom of expression trampled into the ground when you see good doctors who are being scientists by asking questions and by challenging hypotheses, which is what science is all about, to challenge the hypothesis and to ask questions about it. And you see these doctors are being prosecuted by their own colleges of physicians and surgeons. Absolutely outrageous. Many doctors have told me that in recent decades, they have never been aware of any college that would interfere directly in the doctor-patient relationship. And now we have colleges telling doctors that they cannot exercise their professional judgment by not exercising, the doctors cannot exercise their professional judgment by prescribing ivermectin to patients, even though many doctors are saying that it is an effective early treatment to prevent hospitalization and prevent deaths. And the college has jumped in there to stop doctors from really exercising their own professional judgment. So the Justice Centre is representing doctors in British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, Nova Scotia, and we're reminding the colleges that they are government bodies. They are required to respect the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, including freedom of expression. So we're going to defend these doctors and force the colleges to show us their science, if they have any. Last but not least, we've had big violations of the freedom of peaceful assembly. I don't notice any police officers here today, but frequently in the last 20 months, we've had police officers giving $1,000 tickets, $2,000 tickets to people simply for being outside and peacefully exercising their charter freedom of peaceful assembly. Now, thus far, there's no government in Canada that has yet submitted persuasive evidence in court to justify these charter violations. Here in Alberta, Dina Hinshaw was supposed to be cross-examined in late September. For the first time, she would have had to answer some tough questions, not the softballs that get tossed her way by media on a daily basis. And after Jason Kenney declared that we would have vaccine passports on September 15th, the Alberta government's lawyers went to court and said, Dina Hinshaw will not be available for cross-examination because she is needed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to be busy saving lives, to save us from the fourth wave. So she cannot be available for cross-examination. And so the court granted that adjournment. And then lo and behold, Dina Hinshaw goes on holidays for 3 days. So we see this is not even being honest with the court, saying that you're not available for questioning under oath, for cross-examination, because you supposedly are, too busy saving lives. But then after all, it turns out you can take a vacation on the same days that she was supposed to have submitted to questioning. So this is the degree of integrity and transparency that we see on the part of the Alberta government. So we've gone from bad to worse. Some of the lockdown measures are partially lifted, although even fully vaccinated people couldn't have more than one visitor or a visitor from one household at Thanksgiving time. And but now we have the violation of Charter 7 right to life, liberty, and security of the person, and that is interpreted by the Supreme Court of Canada and other courts as including the right to bodily autonomy. As a Justice Centre new brochure explains it, your body, your choice. This is a fundamental charter freedom. You have the freedom to not get injected with something that you do not want to be injected with. That's what it's all about. Because as Garrett said, I'm not anti-vaccine. In fact, I'm thankful that my mom got me injected with the polio vaccine when I was a baby, and I assume that that's been protecting me. We're pro-choice on vaccines. We're not anti-vaccines. But the point is that there should not be coercion. And when you have the government coercion, which is now the case, then you have a violation of our charter right to bodily autonomy, and it's not acceptable. The previous lockdown measures were based on the big lie promulgated by Neil Ferguson, repeated by Jason Kenney, repeated by the media. Neil Ferguson said in March of 2020 that COVID would be this unusually deadly killer, way different from the annual flu. It would kill tens of millions of people. And so that's what kickstarted the fear. And when people are in a state of fear, they are ready to give up their rights and freedoms. And now we've got this other big lie that this new vaccine stops the spread. And we know this to be false for several reasons. One is that the manufacturers themselves have stated publicly that the new vaccine will protect the vaccine recipient from severe illness. So if you get the vaccine and if you get COVID, then you're going to be less sick than what you would have been otherwise. That's the promise of the manufacturers. The manufacturers have said this does not stop the spread. Now, secondly, even if the manufacturers had not said that, we know from heavily vaccinated places, you take Ireland, for example, 94% vaccination rate, and COVID is rampant, it's spreading out and about. Government's talking about closing the pubs at 12 midnight, because these scientists, they know that the virus is especially vicious and aggressive after midnight in Ireland. Although in Quebec, the virus is especially dangerous after 8 p.m. This is the science that is in charge these days. But the irony is the only people allowed into Irish pubs are people that have had 2 shots of the vaccine. So why it's so contradictory. But COVID is spreading in Ireland with 94% of the population having 2 shots. Israel is something like 90%. I don't have the exact number, but it's one of the most vaccinated places on earth. They've recently been coerced into their 3rd shot, because if you think this mandatory vaccine stuff, if you think that fully vaccinated means 2 shots, no. Fully vaccinated means however many shots the government's going to tell you to take. And so in Israel, the government said you will get your 3rd shot, and if you don't, you will not have a valid vaccine passport, you will be a second-class citizen, not allowed into gyms and shopping malls and stores and restaurants and whatnot. So Israel, one of the highest vaccination rates, COVID is out and about. Vaccines are not helping against new variants, something I predicted a long time ago. Even if we get the vaccine, what makes us so confident that it's going to work against new variants? They have to change the annual flu shot every year to account for nuances. So apart from the vaccine manufacturers themselves saying that this is not going to stop the spread, we know from Ireland, Israel, Gibraltar's got 100% vaccination rate, 140% if you include the Spanish day workers that go into Gibraltar to work. And the government's saying no indoor social gatherings, spend your Christmas outside, socially distanced, with as few people as possible. And this is a place that's 100% vaccinated. So we know it doesn't stop the spread. Therefore, the government has no justification for vaccine mandates. Likewise, university, supposed to be an institution of science and learning, and imposing this vicious, cruel coercion on students. They should be ashamed of themselves. It's an absolute disgrace to tell people you can't finish your degree, you can't finish your diploma. Utterly, utterly unscientific. We have sent warning letters, legal warning letters, to the University of Calgary and other universities, and said you need to change your policy by this Friday, December 3rd. And we have clients and we are gearing up for court actions. I've said for a very long time, anybody who makes a prediction about what is going to happen in court is a fool. You never know what's going to happen. I've won cases I should have lost. I've lost cases I should have won. We don't know the outcome of these court cases. Ultimately, what's even more important than success in court is to change public opinion. And to that end, I'd mentioned a brochure. We want to see 1 million of these distributed all across Canada. Now, I know you're busy with exams right now, but email the Justice Centre and let us know whether you want 100 or 200 or 500. And when you're home at Christmas, when you're done your exams, go door to door. Do not knock on the doors and talk to people. I'm not asking you to do that, but go door to door and put the brochure in the mailbox, put it in a way that it's sticking out. Don't put it in and close the lid, because then it'll be there until summer. Nobody will read it. But put the brochure in the mailbox so it's hanging out. Because there are a lot of people, you've got your dyed-in-the-wool people that are, true believers in lockdowns and mandatory vaccines. We're not going to change their minds. That's okay. But there are a lot of people that know or feel or sense or believe that there's something not quite right about what's going on. And those are the people that we need to reach. The people that are kind of in the middle. They're not with us. They're not against us. And do the same thing with with emails, with social media. Keep on persevering. I'm confident that we are going to win, because truth always vanquishes the lie. Sometimes it takes longer than what we want it to take, but government policies that are built on an edifice of lies, government policies built on the big lie that COVID is like the Spanish flu of 1918, government policies built on the big lie that the vaccine stops the spread. Those government policies built on lies, they will crumble, they will fall, and it's going to happen. It's up to us, really, how long it takes. We know that good always triumphs over evil, and again, takes longer than what we want it to. So the important virtue to cultivate is the virtue of perseverance. Quitters never win, and winners never quit. So we're going to keep on going. I want to hear from the Justice Centre staff that we're getting lots of email requests for brochures that we can mail out to you. And we're going to keep on fighting, because we will win in the end, because we care about justice, because we love freedom, and because we know that it is better to die standing than to live on your knees. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. So, most of us here, we're not crazy. We're not trying to hurt people. All of us go about our day and we follow the procedures we can. We do our rapid testing. We even put on the mask when we go to class. And we all just want to finish our degree and experience university like everyone else walking to class right now. Some people don't have to worry about this. And why should we? We're not trying to hurt them. We're not trying to spread some disease. We're just trying to go about our day like everyone else. Come January 1st, our options are out. The university has said we can go online, but they're not offering online options for most of our required courses in our degrees. Why should we be denied an education that we have already sunk thousands of hours and dollars into? Up next, we have Marcus, a U of C graduate student. Graduate student, here he is.
What I would like to say is, this is not about health. I'm a graduate student in the Department of Computer Science. My name is Marcus Friedel. My education is in mechanical engineering. I left my home to come to Calgary because here in the lab that I work is where I can make the greatest impact with my skill set. I work in robotics and human-computer interaction. In my lab, we augment human capability. We enable people to process more data in their brains at a time. We enable robotic teleoperation in space and underwater. We study and improve education, making it more efficient. We enable people to immersively be in and physically interact with dreamt-up virtual environments. We develop technology to enable and encourage deeper communication between people. And I came here to be part of bringing this impact to the world. But the university's directive is stifling my research, my education, and my work. And it's not about health. My research, I build robots. I build robots and I test them on people. And that is not something that I can do from half an apartment. Lab meetings, design reviews, machine shop access, user studies, these are things that are essential. And worst of all, I miss out on the collaboration with my lab. I can't walk over to my colleagues and talk them through a design that they're working on, or see a robot that they're designing and give them some engineering aid. I have a function in my lab, a responsibility, and that's one which the university is willing to do away with. In terms of courses, like many of you, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to fulfill my course requirements. Yeah. I was really looking forward next term to taking the AR/VR and robotics course taught by my supervisor. And now it looks like I'll have to take a very unrelated course, if there is one that fits. But the biggest thing for me, in addition to taking courses and doing research, is that I'm an employee of the university. As a graduate student, I work as a teaching assistant. And that's where a large chunk of my funding comes from. The funding that was promised to me by the university when I agreed to join. But the University of Calgary is placing all unvaccinated employees on non-disciplinary leave without pay. That's all of them. If you want to teach an online course at the University of Calgary from your farm in Saskatchewan, but you are unvaccinated, you will be in all effect fired. That's not about health. So I'm doing what I can to ensure that I can continue to conduct my research, continue to take courses, and to continue to teach. This term, I do my rapid testing. I'll wear my mask when I teach.
Medical coercion's a crime. You don't have to participate in vaccinations.
Not from the point of view that the university owes me something. Not from the point of view that I need this for the development of my career. My motivation is bigger than that. I believe in the work that I'm doing and in the impact that it will have on society. That's why I work. And just like I will take on the struggle in the competitive research community to fight for my work and get it seen, I'm prepared to take on the administrative struggle if that's what it takes to fight for the work. So for me right now, this is what it comes down to. Until the university can tell me how an employee's vaccination status affects that person's ability to teach over the internet, and it affects the university's business practices, I can make no other conclusion than that this is not about health. Thanks.
Thank you, Marcus. Alrighty, next up we have a student from Mount Royal University, Nathaniel. Where's he at? There he is.
Thank you. It's great to see all of you. My name is Nathaniel. I'm a fourth year student at Mount Royal University. My message is short and simple. And it's not a pessimistic message, it's one of urgency. I need you all to understand that protests are not the end-all, be-all solution to our problems. It's only a necessary first step to fighting for our rights and freedoms. The university claims that there's 800 unvaccinated at Mount Royal and about 1,500 at UFC. Where are these students today? Why aren't they here? Protests are important as they bring us together. We can share information, share ideas, network, show our strength, show our numbers, boost our morale, make us feel like we're not alone, and publicly show our discontent. With this, however, we go into our jobs, our days, and our weeks, and we have to continue the fight. We will not win this by merely protesting. That's only the first step. I understand how difficult and challenging this has been on many of us, and many of you do not know how to fight this tyranny other than protesting. But this is not the time to be apathetic, but the time to take action. So we as a group of students will show you exactly, leading by example, how we are to fight other than protesting. In the next couple weeks, we will be planning and announcing ways for us to fight and win our rights back. I do warn you, however, civil disobedience and non-compliance requires action and will take you out of your comfort zone. And it may cost you also. But let me ask you, what is your freedom worth to you? What is your right to education worth to you? Because if you do nothing and sit idly by, we cannot win this fight. All of you watching at home or in class, why aren't you here? You should be here. They will not let up, as John Carpe said. This is not going to end with fully vaccinated. Double jab, triple jab, quadruple jab. This doesn't end unless we end it. Tyrants and authoritarian regimes have never freely given the people their rights and freedoms back. We have to take radical action, peaceful resistance, if we want to force them to listen to our demands. Because we're done pleading and begging. We're demanding now. So in the coming weeks, watch for some big things we have in the works for the rest of the year. Because as you know, come January, many of us may not be able to finish our degrees. We will not easily let them force us out of the institutions that we have worked so hard for and paid for. So join us in solidarity as we fight to keep our education without discrimination and segregation. We are planning some events and stunts that will make our presence known, since they have decided to completely ignore us and treat us like second-class citizens. They have made it clear that they do not wish to accommodate us or work with us. They want us out. It is up to us if we will allow them to rob us of our right to education that we worked so hard for so many years. So show up and fight, because if you don't, it's all gone. It's all gone. And show up not because you have nothing to lose, but because we have everything to lose. Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty, next up here we have Nathan Ray giving us a speech. On the note of vaccines, of course, I just want to point out no vaccination in history has ever hit a 100% vaccination rate. Since when has that stopped us from allowing people to go to school? For one reason or another, you know, people can't get a polio shot. Now, it's rare, but we don't ban those people from eating or going to school. They're just like us. Here we have Nathan.
Hello, my name is Nathan Ray. Back in September, my sister Kimmy reached out to me, speaking in fear and confusion about a last-minute policy the University of Alberta decided to implement that made COVID vaccinations mandatory on campus. My sister had hoped to start attending in January after getting her application accepted, but when it came time to choose between post-secondary education and resisting medical coercion, there didn't seem to be many good options on hand. In hindsight, I was the one who made the smart decision of pursuing online university courses and dodging a massive bullet in the process. Woo! This didn't have to be my problem, and I assure you that my sister is a strong young woman who's capable of handling things on her own. But this is my flesh and blood, and I knew that I couldn't withhold assistance from her when it was in my power to act. So I took it upon myself to do some research and found people who are in the same situation as her. People who are here right now. People who felt isolated and alone and powerless against these institutions that were determined to deny students from being present on campus on the basis of their medical decisions. From Grand Prairie to Lethbridge, we banded together and built a community, sharing information, supporting each other in our struggles, and figuring out how to convey the reality of this insanity that we're all going through. Allow me to share something that came up in conversation with my sister last night. When we were younger, all of us had a dream of what we wanted to do with our lives, and as we grew up, we found out that in order to fulfill those dreams, we needed to go to college and get certifications to prove that we were qualified enough to achieve our destinies. If we got kicked out, it was because we failed to meet the standards of academic quality that were set before us. It was our fault, no one else's. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, these mandates came in to take something that was supposed to be the key to unlocking our dreams, only to put behind a wall with the promise that you can access it if you agree to get vaccinated. It doesn't matter if you have talent, it doesn't matter if you have potential, it doesn't matter if this is the only place you can get your advanced degree in human ecology or interpretive dance or whatever. It doesn't matter if you have concerns about the safety or effectiveness of the vaccines. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're being forced to make a choice while a gun is being pointed at your face. What's being done is in the best interest of everyone's safety. And if you're not willing to get on the bandwagon, then by all means, you deserve to be left behind, you fuckers! We don't have a problem if other people want to get vaccinated against this virus, especially if it's done out of their own free will, and in the genuine belief that doing so will protect them from harm. We might not all agree that it's the best decision, but certainly there are motivations that are sympathetic and understandable. We do have a problem when it comes to people being coerced to get vaccinated under the threat of losing their education and their careers, even if it's for the greater good of the communities. And it's not just because we have something to lose. Everyone has something to lose. After all, why stop at vaccine mandates? Why not dictate other personal decisions as well? This battle that we're fighting might be for ourselves, for everyone in this community, but it's also for everyone who attends these universities and for everyone who's part of the society that we live in.
My choice! My body, my choice! My body, my choice! My body, my choice!
Oh, hey. Take it off. Freedom!
Since I was here on campus.
My body, my choice! My body, my choice!
Statistics.
Human rights not to be discriminated against. It's on the $10 bill. Look at it.
Education without segregation! Education without discrimination! Education without discrimination! Education without segregation!
3 classes left. Been working full time pretty much for 4 years. Kicked out. We're not taking this vaccine.
Joke.
Vaccine damage at 15 years old. What would you do if you were in my position? Never take this damn thing.
Exactly.
Education without segregation! Education without segregation! Education without discrimination! Education without discrimination! Education without segregation! Education without segregation! Where there's rest, there must be choice! Where there's rest, there must be choice!
Stand up for your rights, you won't have them. Freedom!
segregation. Education without segregation. Education without discrimination. Fire Hinshaw! Fire Hinshaw! Fire Hinshaw! Fire Hinshaw! Dana Hinshaw's gotta go. Dana Hinshaw. Freedom! 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 Freedom!